Good. Welcome. So this is our very first Meet the Master. So I hope it works. Forgive us if we have any snaggings or anything like that. But the idea here is to have a brief introduction to myself and the company and what we do. I'm going to talk for a little bit to begin with. Then you're going to hear from David, the upper warden, and then Mike, the renter warden, and then Michael Bodsworth, the trade warden. And I'm hoping, I'm not sure if he's here yet, Wayne is going to be on to talk about the young pattern makers. He is on, is he? I can't see everybody, but there we are. We'll rely on a bit.
He's definitely there, John.
Excellent, that's good. So I'll rely on a few lookouts to see if anybody has their hand up for questions. I'm expecting it to take about 15 minutes of introductions, and then we can open the floor for questions. So very informal, just see how we go and take it from there. Okay, so I think everybody knows who the pattern makers are. I think most people do. I'm just going to do a brief summary then, just in case anybody doesn't. Vicky, I'm not sure how much you know about us, but we're a medium-sized livery company. We're 70th in the rankings now out of 114, so we're bang in the middle. And our purpose is about encouraging fellowship and community. We support a range of events in the city and supporting our trades. And we endeavour to raise funds for our charities. We're giving away, and David will talk more about this, but we're giving away north of £80,000 a year to our various charitable initiatives. So there's an awful lot of things that we do. We have been around for 300 years. We got our charter, our royal charter, in 1670. So there's an awful lot going on in the pattern makers. And although our roots do lie in the the trading of patterns, which, as we all know, thankfully are no longer in existence, and every time you meet anyone, you have to explain the difference between a pattern and a pattern. But we do that gladly. And we have been, since the 1970s, quite strongly associated with the footwear industry, and that sort of relationship and fraternity has grown over the years. We then became also affiliated with the built environment, and that's getting stronger and stronger as the years progress. And we also have connections with the city, and the City of London, legal professions, civil service, and the armed forces. And I can talk about those as well near the time. But what that does do is create a very interesting mix of people. It's a very eclectic group of people who always have fun events and interesting conversations, and there's always more to learn. And certainly, as master, I am finding that I am on a very, very big, steep learning curve. So that's a bit about the livery. I can take questions about that later if there's anything more. Who am I? I am Jane, as you know. I have been a liveryman since 2001. I first encountered the pattern makers when I was 27, and I was what was called a young manager award winner then in the footwear industry. I was bored at work and I thought, what can I do? And I came across this advert in a magazine called the Shoe and Leather News, which was get a travel bursary and travel the world. And I thought, oh, that's me, because I was sitting as a salesman in an Altrincham sales office. And all I had to do was write an essay about the future of the footwear industry, and away I went. So I thought, what could be easier? That's obvious. That's the line of work I'm in. It was really easy in the sense that I just predicted what we all know, which is the demise of fitted children's footwear, the casualization of the market, the increased encroaching of sneakers into the market, and the demise of the formal footwear industry. I mean, it was even obvious back then in the 90s, and 1990 it was, and I won. And I decided I wanted to travel from Moscow to Vladivostok, which is quite a ridiculous thing, thinking that I would travel along the Trans-Siberian Express to see all the footwear. I mean, you can imagine that sounded ridiculous, right? So I never actually got the prize, but I did win the award. So there we are, and the rest is history. But so obviously since then, I came back into the livery in 2001, and have championed footwear and everything footwear ever since. Um, I've worked for my whole life in the footwear industry, developing and leading the design and development and production of some of the big household names that you'll all know: Clarks, Startrite, Echo. And within that, things like Clark's Originals, Magic Steps, Yo Toys, Commandos, a lot of it in the children's footwear area. And they've all been household names, so you will know them or know somebody who's had them or worn them or that sort of thing. I've been a management consultant for 12 years in the industry, and I'm currently chair of the British Footwear Association. What that does is puts me in a great position to be able to reach out across the entire industry, which you can never do when you work as a brand, because no one will speak to you because they always think you can steal their ideas and you can't talk to other people. But when you're in the British Footwear Association, of course, you're independent, and I get to see all the brands, all the interesting places in the country, and Europe and the rest of the world. And it's been a great job. So I've had a wonderful time. I'm now the master of the Pattenmakers, and that is the greatest privilege I've ever had. It's a deep honour to be the master of your company. It is a huge honour to represent you at so many events, and I have to do my homework before I go so that I know everything that I need to know to have the conversations I need to have. So it's a huge learning curve, and I'm really enjoying it. Um, yeah, just to give you an idea of the sort of things I do. Last week was a particularly busy week, but I represented the company at a Charterhouse garden party, which was a beautiful venue where Capel Manor, the for those of you who know Capel Manor, that were there. That was great. I represented us at the election of sheriffs in the Guildhall, which obviously is a hugely historic venue and a historic event. I was at the 125th anniversary birthday party of the Submariners. David was there as well. That was an amazing event where we learned a great deal about the life of a submariner and the attendant challenges of being a submariner. And then the following day, we're at the 100th birthday of the Master Mariners, which was also a fabulous event. And then that's just a typical week, and there are all sorts of interesting events to go to, as David of course knows, who was there last year flying the flag for us all. So for me, this year is all continuing the theme of charity and fellowship. And what I'm trying to do is emphasize really the latter, the fellowship within the livery, because sometimes that gets lost. And the benefits of of a livery to young people, and trying to create events and ideas and things that will attract young people and stimulate young people. So for those of you who are coming on Thursday, we've got 9 21-year-olds singing a cappella in smooth, silky jazz in the Apothecaries Hall, which is just going to be great. Led by Casper Lutens, and Casper was one of our first St Paul's Cathedral choristers that we sponsored. That's the sort of thing we need to do more of, showing young energy in the livery and how it can provide a pathway and a connection for people for 30 or 40 years, as it has done for me. Because I very strongly believe it's not about doing everything all the time. It's about a relationship over time with a community of people. And life gets in the way sometimes, and people go off because they're busy, they have families, they have working lives, but they come back. And it's a community that you belong to forever. And that's where the value lies for me. So we're trying to put things on that'll attract and engage young people. We're trying to broaden our appeal across other communities. So the FM dinner is going to be inviting members of the architects company, the constructors company, other FM liveries, so that anyone in the FM community can connect with other affiliated areas of their sphere of specialism. We're trying to create as many fundraising opportunities and diverse fundraising opportunities as possible. Not everybody can run a marathon, but maybe some people like to upsail, or some people like to cycle ride, or some people, those are the sorts of things we're looking at. So there's a diverse approach to the types of things that people can become involved in. Um, and using the year to showcase what we do so that more people understand and know about the good things that we do. So it's what we do and what we are that I think is important to take away from this. So that's enough from me. I'm going to pass over to David, who's going to tell you a little bit about himself and what he does with the Charities Committee. David.
Okay, so I'm David Emanuel, and I'm proud to be your upper warden and the chair of the charity committee, which is really at the heart of everything that we do as a livery company. So I'm here to talk to you about charity. But being a liveryman to me is all about fellowship, fun, and philanthropy. So I was invited to my first Pattenmaker's dinner in 2014. In 2015, I felt at home. I enjoyed the dinners, loved everything that was going on. So I joined as a freeman, got my freedom of the city a few months later. And I think just after a year, I was clothed as a liveryman. And I'm no stranger to volunteering. So, no big surprise when somebody said to me, did I want to help out? And I automatically said yes, didn't know what I was helping out with at the time. I just said yes. And I think that's been indicative of my career. When IWFM asked me to become members representative, I said yes. And I ended up doing that for 2 terms. Then the women in FM said, we need a treasurer. Would you like to do it, David? I said, what's involved? They said, well, just do the accounts for us. I said, fine, lovely. Then IFMA UK said, well, you've been a treasurer. Would you like to do that for me? And Women in the City said, you've been a judge. Would you like to come and judge the FM award for us? And my thing is, it's easier to say yes than it is to say no. So they asked me to become the webmaster, and I thought, well, how difficult can that be? I've made many websites over the years. Didn't expect COVID to happen, didn't expect to attend every single meeting and facilitate every single meeting. And having done a year of, well, actually 18 months of COVID, they then said, well, David, you might as well join us on the court because you've attended and listened to everything that's happened. So I said, of course. Um, I thought my journey to becoming master would take decades. It hasn't. It's been quick. It's been fantastic. It's been a lot quicker than I first anticipated. So next year, I shall take over from Jane and continue the very good work that she's been doing. But yes, Jane's already said, we've already on the charity, we've kind of upped our game a little bit. Historically, we were used to spending about 60 to 70,000. This year, it's going to be closer to 95,000. That money pretty much comes from the voluntary donations at Quarterage. It then happens from fundraising. And I'm very pleased to say we set a target of 35,000 this year. We're pretty much 80% there. We've got the Livery Hall walk. We've got the bike ride in September. And of course, anyone who's willing, we're going to ride from St Margaret Patten's Church to Brighton. The really keen guys are going to ride back the next day, but I won't be. I shall be getting back on a train. Um, so, as a charity, we're probably most renowned for bespoke orthopedic shoes that we provide to veterans that have been injured in service. But actually, we do much, much more. I reckon, I think probably about 60 to 70% of our budget goes towards education. And that's education through the trades. So, as you probably are aware, we provide bursaries to 2 Future Leader Award winners, one from footwear, one from FM. That provides them with £2,000 worth of bespoke training. And we also provide them with another £500 to facilitate them getting that training and being able to join other membership organisations. Also, in terms of education, we have people on the certificate course at Capel Manor. We also have an apprentice we support. We support children at secondary schools with mentoring and also competitions in terms of footwear design. And what else do we do in education? We do quite a lot. so much. Um, we also fund bursaries for two talented children at the City of School, London School, and also a chorister. Um, what else do we do? We support the relief of poverty. And I guess in terms of poverty, I'd like to mention two charities. The first being um, I Choose Freedom, which is a women's refuge. Last year, we gave them £10,000 to help them um, walk away from abuse. And apparently, it takes them several times before they leave their partner and make that step to seek a safe haven. So they go to these centres for 6 months, and within that 6 months, they are basically put back onto the road of recovery. And Sir Mary LeBeau, with our support, they provide homeless people and jobless people to have a complete start over. Um, they've got an 88% record of people staying in work, which I think is fantastic. So, to conclude, our motto translated from Latin is Women receive support from us. And we're proud to support and encourage and create opportunities not just for women, but for men and children too. So, we do all of this by asking our liverymen to support us in our fundraising, either getting involved or providing some funds. Um, and that's about it from me. I'm happy to take questions later, but let me hand you over to Mike Packham, who is our renter warden and is also the chair of the membership committee.
Well, good evening, everybody. I do apologise you can't see me. It's not deliberate on my part. In fact, I logged in earlier on only to see David sitting there wearing jacket, tie, and his medal. So I quickly rushed off and put my tie and my medal on. But unfortunately, you can't see me in all my splendour. So apologies for that. But anyway, as David said, Mike Packham, I'm the renter warden currently, also chair of the membership committee. Like David, I am from the FMBE section of the livery. And equally like David, I didn't know whether we actually ran across each other, but I think first time I attended a livery event was 2014 or 2015. And my introduction was via a guy called Martin Pickard, who I don't know whether any of you know, but he advertises himself as the FM guru. And it seemed to me that anybody had the um, polite word cajones to stand up and call himself the FM guru was all right by me. And it sounded like the sort of thing that I wanted to get involved with. Um, one of the first projects I got involved with the Pattenmakers actually was the cafe project, which we did at the DMRC, the Defence Medical Refurbished Rehabilitation Centre up at Loughborough, where the military people who are injured overseas are fitted with it sounds crude, but new legs, new arms, and so forth. We actually had a budget for that project of 250 odd thousand pounds. We managed to do it for 130,000 pounds, of which 100,000 pounds of that was donated through various members, through various people. We raised 30,000 through a charity auction and so forth. So we actually managed to fund that project for roughly 50% of what it was should have cost us. So that's my first introduction. A bit later on, I said to David I wouldn't mind volunteering to do something with the Pattenmakers. Little did I know that David was looking to get rid of the membership committee in the very best possible way, of course. And before I knew what was happening, I was chair of the membership committee. Then I was talking to Keith Bottomley, who was the master at the time, asked me if I would like to join the court. And then last November, I received the proverbial tap on the shoulder and was asked if I wanted to be the renter warden. And of course, it's a great honour to be named to take up that sort of role. So that's me, where I've got to within the livery. Very, very rapid rise to renter warden, I feel. Hopefully, I will proved myself worthy of it over time. In terms of the membership committee, we have, as probably most of you know, we've had a new membership system database, which has come in. It's coincided with some changes at the clerks and so on, and that has somewhat confused matters. But I do feel now that probably a year or so in, I'm starting to get my head around the database, and one of David's colleagues, Dave Hurrell, is providing me a lot of support in that respect. So we are starting to get our things straight. We have a target this year of 15 new freemen. So if there are any new freemen out there, potential new freemen, please introduce them. If you need help with the application forms, the process itself, please seek me out. I've got currently we have 4 freemen going up for approval in the July court meeting next week. Next week? Yes, it is. No, it's this week.
This week.
Yes, this week. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it, Jane?
This week, yeah, exactly.
And we have another 4 behind that who will hopefully be coming up for approval later on in the year. So we have 8 out of the 15 that we're looking for. So if there are any potential new members out there that you know of, then please get in touch and I will help you through the process. Equally, we have a target of 4 new liverymen this year. Liverymen need to have gone through the Freedom of the City ceremony before they can apply. The Freedom of the City ceremony can be a long drawn out process. There are a lot of different liveries all looking to get their members through Freedom of the City. Current bookings for the Freedom of the City ceremony, once you've been approved, you need to go to the Guildhall and sit in the ceremony. I'm guessing most of you have been through this already anyway, so you'll know it. But currently we are booking late October for the ceremony. So there is quite a backlog, particularly if you want to do it on your own. If you're happy to join up with fellow pattern makers, then we can hopefully get you in a bit quicker than otherwise be the case. But I think that is probably all I wanted to say. As I say, I'm on the email. If you've got any problems with membership, either liveryman, freeman of the city, or freeman, initial freeman, then please get in touch with me. I'll be delighted to hear from you. Other than that, Michael, I think it's your turn to say something.
Thank you, Meg. Oh, we can't hear you, Michael.
You're very quiet, Michael.
Yeah.
You're still very quiet. It's a bit like me and my camera, I think. Yeah. I don't know what's worse, being able to see me or being able to hear me. Right.
Michael, we still can't hear you.
I think we'll have to leave that. We can't hear him, can we?
I'll tell you what, whilst Michael's trying to get his sound to work, Sarah,
Let's
as
go.
Church Warden, would you like to say a few words about St Margaret Patterns?
Oh yes, okay, lovely, thank you. I'm on the court as well with this, and I've been.
Thanks, Mark. Can you hear me a bit better now?
He's back.
Sorry,
He's back.
the camera isn't great, but
Lovely,
am I still
then,
any better now?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Say something, Michael. Oh, he's gone again.
Can you hear me again now? Can you hear me? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
hear you now.
Can anybody hear me? I'm not on mute. Yeah, hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, we're there. Fantastic. Right, start again. Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm Michael Bodsworth, and I'm very proud to be the trade warden. Your trade warden for the company. The main role of which really is to act as the bridge between our historical roots and the modern industries that give the pattern makers their, I would say, a vital purpose today. The footwear industry and the facilities management and built environment industries. Obviously, following the David, Jane, and Mike, I've not been in the pattern makers for quite so long, but I was introduced by my chairman of my company at the time. And my first ever event I attended was the footwear dinner, which I'll talk about a little bit later, which I think is an absolutely fantastic event, and it got me hooked in what the livery company stood for. It was great to meet other people in the trade, and I also like the if you want for a better word, the pomp and ceremony that goes along with it. I think it's really enjoyable. My daily world though is actually footwear, serving as the COO at Sartre. But what I am proud of is how the livery champions both the industry, well, the three industries that we serve. And really, I wanted tonight just to give you a little bit of a snapshot of some of the things that we've been doing very recently to engage the industry. Firstly, one of the first things is championing craftsmanship and the future talent that there are around in the footwear and the FM industries. Recently, we just held a fantastic footwear forum at the Army and Navy Club that brought together some absolutely, I think the best word to say is really titans of the trade, including Sir John Timpson and Daniel Rubin of June London. And they gave some fantastic talks, along with others as well who were there, to engage not just the livery members, but also young pattern makers. And I thought that was an absolutely fantastic event. And we also do trade visits. We also do visits to companies that are of interest and excite people. And more importantly, I'm very passionate at the moment about exciting the next generation into the livery and also into the industries. As part I mentioned earlier as well, we're very active in the footwear industry, and we had the footwear dinner recently, which had a very large attendance. And the key speaker there was Matt Priest from the Footwear Distributors and Retailers Association of America, which is a very large organisation, and shows something he was very honoured about, and I think it shows the pulling power in the industry of the pattern makers, particularly the footwear industry. There was the good and the great completely from the footwear industry attending that dinner, and it was sort of the go-to event, I would say, now for the footwear industry. The same for the FM and BE dinner. That's happening in September this year, and they've got a fantastic headline sponsor, but also a keynote speaker lined up from the Glasgow Commonwealth Games. Again, it shows the fantastic people that we've got engaging with the livery company and in these industries. I see it as a fantastic point. I mentioned already my passion for the next generation and the youngsters that there are. We also have the Future Leaders Scheme, which is about mentoring and really showcasing the next generation of inspiring talent that we have reshaping the industry. And I was fortunate. James talks about winning that award. I've had somebody that works at our organisation win the award, and I've seen what it's done for her. But I think it's fantastic, and being part of a judging panel on that, I think it's one of the best days of the year. The uplift you get from seeing the younger generation come along and what they're doing, it's an absolutely fantastic day, and winning that award gives them a fantastic opportunity to mentor, to get the sponsorship, to undertake courses and help their development. And that's something that the livery does fantastically. And anybody in their organisations who've got something they'd like to put forward from that, please reach out to me. I also think I'd like to say really that the pattern makers is really also a living, breathing network, really, where you've got industry leaders, you've got designers, corporate innovators, and it all bleeds seamlessly with the history and tradition. And I think we provide a really good mix of fun, fellowship, and philanthropy. And I think it's great for businesses and individuals to plug into this network as well. And I think that's a real benefit of being part of the pattern makers, as well as all the charity work and giving back the work that we do. I talked about myself. Obviously, I've now currently COO at Sartre. I've been in the footwear industry myself for over 30 years. And looking at the picture here with this white screen, my beard looks exceptionally grey. Honestly, it's the same colour as the top of my head. I don't know what's going on with this background. But I've traveled, had the opportunity in the industry to travel the world. I've sourced footwear and supplied to a lot of the major high street retailers and brands that there are. It's a it's been a fantastic journey for me, and I'm very passionate about increasing the links with the industry in the footwear and in the FM area, but also attracting that next generation to understand in these organisations or those looking for careers what there is available. You know, it's you say to people I work in the footwear industry, for instance, people don't understand you could be buying, you could be designing, you could be traveling the world. And I think that one of the things that excites me about the Pattenmakers is where we try and get that message across for the footwear industry and also for the FM industry. So, you know, I'm here for the rest of the call. Happy to answer any other questions. You know, if you want to have a chat with me about how you can, you know, plug into these our trade networks or some of our events, please let me know, and I'll hand over to Wayne next, I think.
Thanks very much, Michael. Wayne, do you want to have a few words?
Yes, absolutely. Hello, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to talk a little bit about the Young Pattenmakers. I'm sorry I'm not as well dressed as everybody else, it would seem. I didn't get that one.
That's all right.
So, yeah, I, like the Master, I found the delivery company through winning the FM Young Leaders Award back in 2018. So yeah, I've been involved with the delivery company now for coming on to 10. Well, it'll soon be 10 years. And as you can tell, I'm a northerner. And before winning that award, I knew nothing of a delivery company or what it really stood for. So it's been a fantastic journey to understand what that looks like. And part of my drive in winning that award and becoming involved in the delivery company was to start opening up that conversation with lots of other people and starting to encourage other young people to be involved in something that is very traditional and not typically what young people are looking for. So yes, so from my perspective, this last year became the chair of the Young Pattenmakers. Very honoured to take that role, and with a very committed and excited committee to develop what we are looking to do for the coming years. Ultimately, it focuses around a simple purpose, which is to develop the next generation of leaders by creating opportunities to connect, learn, grow, and give back. And in that, we believe that professional development isn't just about qualifications or job titles. It comes from building relationships, of which the Pattenmakers give you so much opportunity, sharing experiences that we've already heard from some titans of the footwear and FM industries, and learning from people who have already walked the path before us. So I have had so many meaningful conversations with people sat around a table talking about FM, footwear, all the things that I would never have thought would have happened. So yeah, it's really, really, really good for that purpose. Our mission is to create an inclusive and supportive community where members can build meaningful professional networks. LinkedIn's massive now, and my LinkedIn gets bigger and bigger every time I go to a dinner. So yeah, that network piece is huge. Likewise, one of the things we're looking to work on as a committee is developing leadership and professional skills. So very much like the footwear events, we want to encourage more things like that, where young Pattenmakers can really start getting there. Ultimately, young Pattenmakers generally are early to mid-career, so it's really important that those opportunities are available for young Pattenmakers as well. And ultimately, as both the Master, David, and everybody else has said, the important part of what we do is also about giving back, and with the energy, with the excitement and the drive of young people, using that to deliver into our charitable activities. I think that's it. Ultimately, we are planning to do lots of events. So those people who will have seen the summer event this year, the Young Pattenmaker summer event down at the Bristol Bloom Festival. So please join us in that. But likewise, at the end of the year, we've got the annual Young Pattenmakers dinner, which is always a very good event. So please come and join us at that as well.
Thanks, Wayne. That's great. So should we just go back to Sarah before we open the floor to questions? Sarah was just telling us a bit
Lovely.
about St Margaret Pattens.
Yeah, St Margaret Pattens is our livery church. It's the only surviving livery church in the City of London. We share it with the Basket Makers. We have, so I'm Guild Church Warden, and we have a Basket Maker Guild Church Warden as well. We have a service on a Thursday, but we also do lots of other events. We have the Patronial Festival and event next Thursday on the 9th, where we celebrate our patron, and we will have drinks and enjoy some wonderful music. We also have our Ascension Day service, and we also have a carol service as well. And it's a great space. It's a really lovely space for events. And yeah, we have the Friends of St Margaret Pattens as well, who donate money and help raise money to keep the church alive and going, and it takes a lot of upkeep, that church. And Jennifer is past master chair of the Friends of St Margaret Pattens as well. So yeah, that's it really about the church. We have the guild vicar, who is actually just retired, He will be at the dinner on Thursday, I believe. And
that's right.
Usually what the guild vicar comes and does grace at our dinners, apart from the trade dinners. The other dinners, the guild vicar will say grace. So that's us really, in a nutshell, at St Margaret Pattens.
That's great.
We can't hear Jane now.
Sorry, that's great. It's also worth saying that the Christmas service in December, we also share a dinner afterwards with the Basket Makers. There are only 25 places for our pattern makers there, so when that comes out, you need to jump on early. It's a very popular event after the carol service. So thank you all, and I think it's probably worth giving you all some time to ask questions. If anybody has any, go for it. I can't see any hands. Will anybody else see any hands? No? Anybody want to add anything? Oh, Colin, go for it, Colin. You're on mute, Colin.
Sorry, I keep on buttons disappearing. I couldn't find the hands button, which is something
Don't worry.
I use in lots of meetings because I'm quite a vocal individual. Really welcome this event, Master, and
good
fellow Pattenmakers. So Colin Harris, I recently joined the court. I've been a liveryman since 1997, actually. I came from quite a mixed background, spending many years as a sort of professional songwriter and producer in the music industry. I started working for Prince's Business Trust, helping youngsters to receive grants to start as that. And then I met Mr. Robert Tipping, who of course was very esteemed livery member, and he introduced me to Barry Ryder. The rest is history. Now I spend a lot more time sort of working on very sort of management consultancy pieces for government, where I'm still quite involved in the media industry. But just wanted to say hi to Wayne, actually, because I know we had a catch up a little while ago, and I'm co-chair of the fundraising events committee, and I know that we said that we would try to get together so that we can more effectively perhaps look at mutually promoting Pattenmaker and young Pattenmaker events, and particularly looking at sort of throughput and sort of things like that. So I just wanted to reiterate both that offer and that request, really, Wayne.
Thank you, Colin. Anybody else got anything they would like to say or ask, or questions? Or everyone's ever so quiet. It's not usual for pattern makers to be quiet. Michael, you must have a question. Michael Illingworth, I can see you limbering up there. You're still on mute.
No, I was just going to echo what Colin said, and thank you all for an excellent event, which has been extremely interesting and informative.
Good. Well, thank you. Look, if anybody does have any, you know where we are. You can. Oh, Colin, again, you've got your. Is that? Have you just worked why the hand button is, or have you got?
I have indeed, yeah. I had to think, yeah. And I want to thank Michael, Michael, because we work very closely on the events committee. Michael's deputy to me on meeting. I mean, having more informal events, I think, is absolutely critical. I mean, part of the outcome from the membership surveys, which was before Christmas, and there was a sort of fairly reasonable response, 30-odd%, I think, to that. But there was an overwhelming request for more informal events, with particularly perhaps a geographic focus as well, so they're not all London centric. I mean, this was something myself and a few past masters had tried in the past. The difficulty is you've got to have something to actually sell at the event as well. There's got to be a purpose to it, because it's just turned into a bit of a hey, let's meet up in the pub on a Thursday and talk about all great things. I mean, we'd take it would be an opportunity to meet potential new pattern makers as well. But I just want to say that certainly the survey outcomes is something that the events committee are particularly looking at, and so it's a bit too late to maybe program things for this year, but we particularly want to pick up on a number of those. And like so many other liveries, and in fact even many other sort of sports clubs or golf clubs, trying to devise and provide events that are financially viable is a real challenge. Trying to provide events that don't just maybe satisfy the whim of a few people, but they've got a broader and sort of wider content is always a bit of a challenge. Hand over to Michael, perhaps Michael Easworth, if perhaps, because Michael is obviously trying to rapidly or very very robustly promote a potential ball sort of event for next year. So I don't know, Marcy, if it's possible for Michael to maybe just mention that, if that's
yeah. Can we come to that in a moment? I've just seen Vicky's got her hand up as well. Thank you. Give Michael time to think about that. Vicky, would you like to say something?
So I just wanted to say, thank you. That was really, really interesting event. I did try a forum. Unfortunately, I was unwell, so I was really glad that this came up, because I thought that was a really inclusive event. The fee of £10 makes it absolutely brilliant for everybody, and I hear it was really well attended as well. But this was really good, really interesting to hear what you all do. Nice to see you, Michael, again twice within a month. That's absolutely fine. That's brilliant. So thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. I mean, the thing about the footwear event that we tried is our capacity was 50. We thought keep it small and keep it affordable and keep it interesting. And I think that's what we need to keep a mix of things. We've got the big centerpiece event, but also small and interesting and affordable. The other thing I would just add to your point, Colin, my experience of getting the youngsters together, particularly outside of London, is the only way they can get time off work is if it is value add for work. So it's incumbent upon us as pattern makers to find, using our contacts, value add things that they can do. Like I know Chris Steers did a visit to the stock exchange, or in footwear we've done a visit to Northampton Museum, things like that, where they can go to their boss and say, look, I've got this opportunity to do something, can I have a couple of hours off? And they're more likely to. What we find, and we also, we've found this with the young pattern makers dinner as well, that we cannot get companies to sponsor their employees to go to things if it's just a drink. It's got to have a value on it. So I think it's taking that learning, using the connections within the company, because there are so many really good people. Everybody's got a story, and the more people you sit next to, the more you understand the intrigue of their personal story. They've all got connections. They've all got something to say that's worth somebody hearing. And I think that's the thing that I would take away from that. Michael, did you want to answer Colin's point?
Well, I'm going to pass on the point that he fiscally hoped I'd talk about, because it's got several steps to go through in the
Yes.
company first before it gets to stage go, and I don't want to preempt that. But I think what we've following on from the events committee, what we and also the charitable foundation, which I'm very privileged to sit on the charity committee. There is an enormous amount of good we do that isn't really enough publicized. David has taken this, and we will see on Thursday what he's achieved for us all to promote the fact that not enough people know that the charitable works exist. This then puts the onus back on the fundraising, but it's easier to raise funds when people appreciate what they're raising them for. And because you say, I'm raising it for X, Y, Z, I feel better about that. There's great recruitment on the bike ride. I don't quite know how that's going to develop, but the more people who understand about the charitable foundations and who and what we support, as David Emmanuel's just been telling us all, and in fact, the similar things been said across several people, the more people will get involved. And then it will be easier to get people involved. We raise money to help fund, some of the young pattern makers to help out with that. The project that is in on the back burner at the moment, I think is the best way of putting it, could help with that, but it's just getting the communication about what we're doing it for and why we're doing it, that I think people will feel better about supporting the various events and make life easier all the way around, I hope. Sorry, that was a quickie.
Thank you, Mike. That's great, Michael. Anybody else got anything else to say? Of course, Martin's very quiet there, but we're looking forward to seeing Martin and Rosemary on Thursday, who they're going to be clothed in the livery. They're just polishing their spurs and getting ready now, I should think. David, Emmanuel, anything for you to say, or Mike?
Well, just Mike was alluded to that. We've created some pop-up roller banners. Both have QR codes on them. One is very much more pictorial and graphically illustrates the charities we support and has a few bullet points. And the key message on one is, if you're here as a guest, you've been afforded the opportunity to come and join us. It's not a cheap dinner. Reciprocate by providing a small donation if you can. So that's what we're hoping to achieve, is to get some of our guests to help sponsor things as well, or donate.
Good. Colin, you've got another point?
So no, it's just totally echoing David's point there. I mean, I do feel that at many of the dinners, sometimes we do miss out on the opportunity to promote the great work that we've done, B, the great work that we intend to do, and probably more importantly, we sort of in the past have sort of failed to provide an opportunity for, particularly for guests, to.
So I'm going to have to interrupt you there, because we're supporting what we're doing at St Paul's Cathedral, this one, and in March we supported what we're doing at Bermondsey School. So I think that's what we're saying we are doing.
Yes,
now,
that's right. Yeah,
trying to make sure that each time we get a bit of a voice to what we're doing. We're going to have the marathon runners there, so we are doing that, and I think it's building on that. We must be careful not to create a narrative that we don't do, because we are doing.
Sorry, I wasn't saying at all that we weren't. So I just felt sort of historically we failed to do it, but that's why.
Yes.
David's comments, because it is really great stuff. I know within the events committee, I mean, we've had some quite wide ideas as well around almost having credit card machines on tables at dinner, so people can just keep topping them up. So we sort of pulled back from that, but no, it's excellent stuff.
Now, I do think we also have a fine balance to strike. And I know this was what the court would say, is that we have to strike a balance between asking people for money and pressurizing people to give money, because the dinners are expensive, the quarterage is expensive, and people give what they can. And if they can't give money, they can give time. It isn't all about money. And I think that message is really important, that we don't push too hard, because experience tells us if we push too hard, people back off and they walk away. And similarly with the youngsters, they haven't got the money. so it is a fine balance. And I think that's we tread a fine line there, where we ask and we encourage, but it is about time as well as money. And we are equally time poor, I would say, as you know, by the representational committees. People who are doing are very busy, and they don't necessarily have a lot of time, and they give what they can, and that's all right, because it's a long run, it's a long game. 300 years.
And
300
Colin knows,
years.
because he's one of our
Exactly, 97.
And we've created a corporate supporters package where we pre-buy tickets to dinners. And for me, I don't attend every dinner. I try to. Sometimes I haven't got a guest. And so what I've done for the past couple of dinners is donate my tickets to young liverymen that wouldn't have been able to afford to come. Because I think that's the right thing. It's showing appreciation to them for the time that they're putting in.
Sarah's really cracked the emojis there.
Yeah.
Well, very impressive. Okay,
it's because at work because we've got so many remote teams, we're always encouraged to react, because otherwise you look like you're everyone's just blank faced.
And the last thing I'd like to say is there's 4 people on this call that were all introduced to the livery by one man, Martin Pickard. And if we go back in terms of FM, Ian Scar-Hall was pretty instrumental in putting forward people to come. And I know I've put through a number of people. It's important for all of us to do so. If you know somebody that you feel is of the right caliber to join and will enjoy joining and get something out of it, then do recommend them. We need to grow.
Michael, last word. You're on mute. We can't hear you, Michael.
Sorry, Master. David's point about not being able to attend oneself, I wasn't aware of that. It's a sort of central pool that one can communicate this through. I know, for example, my football club does it. When you can't use your ticket, you put it into a pool, and then other people benefit from it. It's a formalized way. Can't come, happy for my ticket to be used by someone else.
Absolutely, just speak to the clerk,
Okay.
or Jane Foreman, the assistant clerk, and they will find. So Robert Murphin used to have a number of young liverymen that he had on standby, and he said if anyone can't make an event or they're ill, then they would notify them first and foremost.
Thank you. Thank you, Master.
Good. Okay, well, I think that's probably a wrap. It's coming up for 8 o'clock and people are probably hungry. Please let us know any thoughts that you might have afterwards, if you think it's worth doing again, or people would like an update later in the year, or if once is enough. Any feedback is good feedback and we can build on that. So, Michael, is your hand up again, or are you done there? No, he's done. Okay, thank you all very much for taking. Thank you. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.